Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And we're back to talk about episode 16 of season 4 of Fox's retelling of the Dark Knight mythology entitled One of My Three Soups. So join us as we venture into Batman's birthplace.
And explore Gotham.
Is my audio doing the thing again, Dragon?
Well, for a moment it did, and that's why I was just kind of jumped in with my introduction.
Yeah, that's why it threw me off, and that's why I kind of fumbled there for a second.
I assume, okay, I'm gonna wing it. Gonna bat wing it.
Oh, our intros are cursed, Dragon. I think Jervis Tetch is strewn with our airwaves. I don't know. I'm making a really lame podcast joke right at the beginning. We're sinking here. All right. So, Dragon, we're back. One of my three soups. This is our usual schedule for Gotham. We tend to talk about these, at least we're getting them in before the episode comes out in the same week. So, Dragon, this episode, I got to admit, I was really pleased with this. It's got a really great cold open, and I will say it kind of has a misleading setup with the cold open, as you see here. It's sort of like, oh, we're gonna get kind of like a Jerome and Scarecrow and Mad Hatter team up episode. Doesn't quite end up being that, which I was kind of disappointed with. But at the same time, I really did appreciate it. I did think there was a lot of good elements. And there was an ending point to this episode that really sold me on it. So overall, very well rounded. Let's get into it.
All right, so we open with a Guardians of the Galaxy homage.
God, right?
So basically, one of our Arkham guards is kind of called to duty while reading a wrestling magazine. She puts that down. She puts on some very, and again, here's how we know it's a Guardians of the Galaxy reference. She puts on a Walkman with orange headphones.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the telltale sign right there.
Yeah. Is that a pun because Guardians of the Galaxy, like Batman, has a telltale game, or is that just a coincidence?
Maybe.
Ah, I appreciate that reference. Okay, so Arkham Guard is putting on some headphones, listening to some music as she's tending to the Mad Hatter. I like that we have basically, this is a anti-hypnotism measure that Arkham has instituted for the Mad Hatter, so that's kind of cool to see some good world building there. And again, the measure works.
That Dragon is the first time I was watching this. I thought what it was she was walking into a riot, and she was so cool that she was like, you know what? I don't need my sense of sound. I'm going to let the music do the talking and just do my thing.
I think, I want to say that guard in her own mind is reading that wrestling magazine. Is like, hey, I'm gonna kick some butt and take some names.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably the way she wanted things to turn out, but unfortunately, didn't go so well. So the measure works. The old music so you can't hear Tetch works because this is kind of fun how they do this here. By the way, we should mention this at the top real quick. Ben McKenzie directed this episode.
Yes. And honestly, I think it's probably my favorite of the season, and that kind of explains things because he's known for doing some season highlights.
So far, he's directed 2 episodes and he wrote 1. So he's directed 2 and he wrote the Demon's Head episode from this season. Okay, so it works. Everything's working until it's revealed that Tetch, he's kind of mouthing things to her, and again, kind of mouthing essentially what we're about to see transpire, which is kind of cool in the rewatch. The finger. Again, another
note. I love the newspaper hat.
Oh yeah, we've had that before. I like that we still kept that, and it still looks great.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he says, he kind of mouths, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to her. And then, of course, she turns around and sees this young, kind of eerie-looking guard who just kind of scared her. And then we reveal, okay, that little, another Guardian's joke here for you. Put my finger to your throat. Why would I put my finger to her throat? That wouldn't do anything. No, it means you're going to kill her. It's a universal sign for killing, right? Anyway, so basically, our young Arkham guard slits her throat as she had done to all the other guards on the outside. Again, per the Mad Hatter's instructions from a scene earlier we did not see. So basically, the Mad Hatter has escaped, and he's making the rounds to some other escapees.
Yes. So let's see. Next, we see the Scarecrow, I believe.
Yes, by the way, new actor on the Scarecrow. And what's cool, though, I like this. I like that we don't see... Well, it's kind of... They found a way around it for a while because I love he's wearing his mask in Arkham. He basically took like a pillowcase or a bed sheet and he made it into like a rudimentary Scarecrow mask, which looks awesome. I mean, I love all of their kind of in the asylum outfits because last time we saw Jerome, he has like the the suspender look and the white gloves, which looks great, and Mad Hatter with the newspaper hat, and then Scarecrow with the makeshift mask, which again all really nice touches. Feels very akin to Arkham.
No, I can live with the actor change that way. I mean, it feels a lot more natural than what we're doing with Ivy.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
you know what, Dragon? I'm sorry, but Dragon, the boys and I were talking, and we don't like the way that I was just talking about Ivy, so I think I need to punch myself because Ivy's so awesome, right?
Yeah. How dare you say a negative thing about
God.
Ivy? Who cares if she got a facelift? She looks great. Okay, so let's see. So, and I love this take. And this is a pull from. It might be a reference to the animated series, but it's always, at the very least, it's a fan thing from the animated series that people noticed in the animated series that after the Mad Hatter was introduced, that whenever he went to Arkham, you noticed that the Mad Hatter and Scarecrow are actually friends. Like they played chess together, they watch TV together. They're actually pals in Arkham Asylum. So we kind of have that alluded to here, that the Mad Hatter and Scarecrow have respect for each other. Because they kind of get the literary references and stuff.
Right. Well, that's kind of why I was excited for the potential team up that we didn't quite get in the episode. That's sort of alluded to in the cold open.
And also, again, all of that, even in the animated series, that whole genesis. And if they're not getting it from the animated series, they're definitely getting it from the biggest kind of inspiration for this season, Long Halloween. It's very in Long Halloween we have that, like, a lot of chapters that pair together the Mad Hatter and Scarecrow, again quoting literature to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So Scarecrow is making a chemical mix to free Jerome with. Using the kind of old prison methods, if you will, kind of cultivating the toxic kind of chemical within the Arkham toilets. God knows what stories those things have to tell. And basically, what we see, and again, classic kind of villain fashion, again, reminds me of kind of the golden years of the animated series of something like Almost Gotham, where we have kind of three egos at play once they free Jerome, and our three baddies are kind of united. They're allied. Basically, they're allied for Jerome's big plan, which we're going to see unfold in the next arc, I suppose.
Yeah, and again, Dragon, I'm really liking that this season is just, we're basically building to Arkham City. We're building to No Man's Land, essentially.
Essentially, yes, and it's fantastic. It makes me so excited. I've never been this excited for a Gotham arc. I don't think I'm
Dragon. I think you're right. I think, like, honestly, I'm just gonna say this up front. Like, this episode ending, like, I was just like, no, I'm so into this. Like, I'm invested, and I don't want this episode to end in a way that I haven't felt about this show in a while, if ever. Like, we're really gearing up for some exciting stuff, hopefully.
Oh yeah. So let's see. So they're bouncing their egos off of each other, and Jerome, he's in classic kind of Joker-esque fashion. He's the head cheese. He's loves that joke he makes, like, "Hey, it's 3 after it's 5 after like 5 hairs and a freckle." And he's looking at an imaginary watch, looking at his wrist here. And you guys, it's supposed to be 3 hairs after a freckle. We can do better than that, guys. And of course, anyway,
gentlemen.
Yeah. So they're they're making it clear that, hey, we're not subservient to one of your lackeys, Velasca. And then of course they say, gentlemen, we can backstab each other later. Let's focus on the pressing business at hand. And okay, they're all on board. Jerome has the ability to kind of seeing like the weird kind of mind controlled guard, and he's saying, "Hey, kill the weirdo, would you? She's freaking me out." So then, they get the keys from her, and they basically free the rest of the violent offenders in Arkham, and they all walk out. It's a great shot, and again, speaking of the Arkham City kind of big payoff this season, we're alluding to that a little in the direction here. We have this great shot where Jerome, he walks out of Arkham, just walks out of the place, and it's like a royal thing where he's walking at everyone like soldiers, like with swords and stuff, kind of sticking out, like an old like knights thing. They all have like makeshift kind of swords and weapons like out as he walks under them like a bridge, and that's a reference to in the first game in Arkham Asylum. The Joker's big plan is basically Batman walking into a place so he can kind of like welcome them to a party. So he gets like a party welcome and have all of Joker's henchmen outside waiting for him like that.
So this is in a way kind of a mix of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City when we have like, the prison-wide chaos that Jerome wants to evoke mixed with sort of like, hey, it's a party, boys.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So let's see. So again, that's our cold open. It's this beautiful shot where you're just walking out of Arkham, basically insanity kind of like getting closer and closer to the heart of Gotham. And it's just like, it's a wow. Like, it's a great thing. And that's an excellent cold open, too.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, like, par our definition. Definitely a good cold open.
Okay, so let's see. So Jim is back. Of course, remember the last episode? A little bit of time has passed, presumably, but Jim was shot 4 times last episode.
Yeah,
So,
that's gonna bring a man down for a week or so, but no biggie, no biggie. He's back.
what I love what we're doing here. I really love what we do with Jim Gordon in this episode. So Jim is back, and Bullock's worried that Jim is gonna confess. He's gonna confess because of the GCPD need a hero. They need to live with kind of the Dark Knight Risean kind of lie. They need to kind of work with the they need to work with the line. This episode is at risk of something, and I think at the end, especially on a rewatch, I think they avoided this, but there's definitely a risk in this episode of repetition, of repeating the big lesson from the big scene between Jim and Bullock at the end of the last episode. Because you'd say, okay, do we really need a reminder of this? But again, it's Jim settling into this, and Jim, obviously, a character who we knew in the very beginning of this series, being very kind of on point, being very moral, and again, just a guy who wouldn't be able to sleep at night with something like this. So it makes sense that he'd have trouble getting used to this. And what I love is him getting back into the saddle so soon after that, and that's why Bullock is additionally worried. I love how that gets to kind of the classic Jim Gordon state, where Jim Gordon's always he's not a smoker, but what we do instead of him being a smoker is he's a little weakened, he's a little withered. We're getting kind of a withered Jim Gordon. Like you can tell when he's welcomed and he's being welcomed by the cops. He's tired and he's a little beaten, very much like the classic Commissioner Gordon type.
The way I would describe this episode in terms of differentiating itself is this episode is kind of Bullock's passing the torch moment for Gordon, and we'll get to that by the end of it.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we're at the crime scene, and we're outside of Arkham, and basically Jim's about to give a speech right out on the troops. Before that, though, he learns that, okay, 87 violent inmates have escaped, and they're being led by Jerome, along with the Mad Hatter and Jonathan Crane. And of course, Jim, he dreads Jerome's role in all this because he knows he's leading the chaos. A little fun fact, we'll get into this, I guess, more towards speculation, but he does give a shout out to 3 violent inmates who are at large right now, who escaped along with them. And I think these guys we might check in with some of these guys coming back. Their names, he mentions all of these are Batman characters. Daedalus Botch, Doodlebug. Basically, he's a crazy artist from Arkham Asylum Living Hell, which is the story we talked about, the whole Penguin story earlier, a couple episodes ago. Ephraim Snow, who let's just say I think we're gonna, if any of these guys, I think Ephraim Snow we're gonna check in with because he's from the Batman Endgame story, which again gets me excited because that's a Scott Snyder story and that's the whole revenge plot of the Joker after the death of the family. So I'm very excited for him. And we also mentioned Erasmus Rain. Erasmus Rain is a character called Death Rattle, and he was also in Arkham Asylum Living Hell. He was a cult leader. So point is, we get three kind of deep cut Arkham shout outs. So that's kind of cool.
Nice.
Anyway, so Jim's basically he's leading the charge. I love when he walks up to the cops. They're all loving him. They're all welcome, Captain. They're all very happy to see him. That's nice.
Like if I would have known that I would have had to look at your ugly mugs all night, I would have stayed in the hospital.
That's what I love. And again, I like that we're getting to that point with Jim Gordon. Where he's putting up a good front. He's obviously beaten and he shouldn't be in the field, and he's definitely has a lot. He has a lot weighing on him emotionally and physically. And I love he's just still putting on the brave face, kind of rallying the troops. Anyway, so as he kind of gives a speech, we got to have each other's backs tonight. It's going to be dangerous. We got a lot of stuff to do. And after that, a little pep talk. The Mad Hatter calls with an address. Manic as ever on the phone. Jim.
God.
Oh boy. So Jim and Bullock take the call themselves, and this is a really sweet bit. We have a lot of sweet Bullock and Jim bits throughout this episode, where Bullock says, "Hey, I'm supposed to have your back. Orders in order, Captain." It's nice. Now, let's see.
I love this moment when Mad Hatter is like, he's threatening very maniacally to kill someone if they don't get to the address. He's like, just do it, or I'm going to kill someone. And then
Benedict Samuels is definitely happy to be back.
Just like, in case you had any doubts. I love that transition, that snap transition and attitude.
Right. All right, so we get some classic Jim and Bullock silhouettes, with the flashlights, and also have yet another fourth wall conversation, which is awfully funny. Basically, Bullock questioning, "Hey, what if we're hypnotized right now?
God.
What if he hypnotized us on the phone. Well, that means we're either walking into a trap. That means we're either idiots or hypnotized.
Dragon, I gotta say, I'm loving this kind of fourth wall meta narrative going on with Gordon and Bullock, because last episode it was it was calling out like, oh gee, it gets pretty repetitious, it feels like we're just doing the same thing over and over again.
Go to Lee, then to get to Ed, to get to the Penguin. All these leads. Yeah.
It almost feels like we're on a procedural crime drama or something.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So, they're kind of like, so either we're idiots or we're hypnotized walking into a trap. And of course, they walk into the Mad Hatter's trap. And I gotta say, the staging of all this, the way we use the locations in Gotham, I think speaks to, Ben McKenzie doing a nice job in the directing, in the directing chair this episode. So you do have some really well composed shots, like like the man and basically the newlywed couple in the center, mimicking the introduction of the Mad Hatter, where when he got revenge on Jim Gordon, the first target he had was a married couple to intimate Lee and him and such.
Now, surely, Dragon, surely, that encounter, it didn't go too well, but surely this encounter is going to go a lot better, right?
Yeah, come on, it's got to. Nothing back.
God, we all know that Gordon, he's going to pull through, he's going to rescue these cute kids. We're all going to be like, oh, writers, you had us fooled. Think again.
It'll be in time for the honeymoon. Come on. So let's see. Okay, so basically, again, really well. I love how we use kind of like we definitely show drivers. I like that we do have clues to what the Mad Hatter's planning in this scene, both visually and in dialogue, where all these drivers kind of getting out of their cars. So basically, you'll notice all of his henchmen are kind of coming out of cars, implying that he has them controlled via the radio, as we're going to learn later on. So that's clever. Mm-hmm. So let's see. So basically, he has a trap replicating the newlywed crimes from last season. Of course, I love that bit where Jim warns Bullock, "Don't shoot, they're hypnotized." So they're at the mercy being held by the hostages, and then the Mad Hatter, essentially, he's taking just to boil it down a little, the Mad Hatter is taking the choice out of things. Like, he's not giving Jim the sadistic choice like he did all over season 3. He's like taking the choice away, like, my dear beloved sister Alice, you didn't give us a choice, so he's taking the choice away. And what happens when he does that, Tiki?
Oh dear God, this is one of the most horrific things I have seen on the show yet. He drops a wrecking ball straight on the couple, just flat out crushing them in a glorious fashion.
Just bulldozes the couple to demonstrate he means business this time.
I mean, Jesus.
So I gotta say this, I think it's the most sudden again, Tiki, it always boils down to that fish moony eye bit for me. That seems to be the most violent thing we've ever done on Gotham, but this is a close second, if not maybe inches that one out a little bit. This is brutal and swift, but still, it's not plucking your own eyeball out and stepping.
The eye thing is more painful, but this is more brutal.
I'll give you that. Okay, so he gives him a clue saying, the bells will toll. Essentially, the bells will toll, which means, when the clock strikes midnight, so my plan's going to come into effect. Ding, 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 ding. God. So he drives away, and as the Mad Hatter drives away, we kind of have the fail-safe chicken command take effect, just to give us kind of a weird commercial out bit here, where all the hostages are clucking like chickens.
We got some really cool kind of Purple Man stuff going on in this episode.
Oh, we definitely do. Well, it's the Mad Hatter, of course. In many ways, the original Purple Man, because the Mad Hatter did come first. He didn't mind control people like that, but he did come first.
All right, so we got Selena and Bruce at the police station, and Dragon, I love what we do with Selena and Bruce this episode, I gotta say.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, I always liked these two paired together, but I think this season it's gotten the best than it's ever been before.
I agree. I really think they're coming into their own. I don't know what it is either. I can't really describe it or put my finger on it. Okay,
let's see. So, the GCPD is very frantic. Obviously, Jim's not in because he's in the field, dealing with Tetch. So, Bruce and Selena, they enter, and I love this Bruce story. I love what we do with Bruce in this episode. So, more on that later. So, Bruce and Selena, they're in the GCPD, and he wants Selena to basically pick the lock and to go into Jim's office and infiltrate it and get Jerome's file.
So basically, Bruce wants to frickin' do detective work, Dragon, and that just instantly had me fanboying out right there. It's like, he's so close, you know what I mean? It's like he's out on the streets, he wants to, he wants to do the detective work, he wants to put the pieces together, he wants to go after the criminal himself. We're so close, Dragon.
Yes. Then Selena's asking if this is like repayment for the jewelry debt. Basically, he gave the jewelry back to the well, whether it was unclear. Assumedly, he gave Selena the pep talk, and Selena gave the jewelry back to the family, and basically that was like what she's referring to, the whole debt for the jewelry thing. It helped her out with that situation, going to the pawnbroker, stealing back the stuff that she stole from the guy who got killed.
Hmm.
So, Bruce says that it's not, and again, she does, hey, no one does anything nice for anyone. No one does anything to help, the cynic in Selena. And he says, fine, fine, after this, then we'll be even, all right? Just get the files. He says, okay, which one's Jerome Bless? What do you want, Jerome Bless? Just get it. So it's a classic, Batman Catwoman alliance, essentially. And that's, it's great. Very kind of Batman Telltale-esque, if you will.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So, again, they're sort of wonderful together this whole episode and this whole pairing. And again, honestly, it's even when they're not saying anything to each other, like they're acting so classical. Batman Selena, like the looks that Carmen Bayakandova gives David Mazouz in this throughout this episode, like it speaks volumes and it speaks to kind of the connection. I really appreciate that. So,
That's not a comic book movie comparison to the couple that I'll make. That's very grand, but you'll see. You'll see when we get to it.
okay.
All right.
So let's see. We have some really sweet radio transitions. And I love the radio transitions. That's my favorite thing. What Mackenzie did this episode in the direction. I love how the radio is a pivotal thing because it ties into the Mad Hatter's plot, and we kind of see different kind of radios for each of our B plots, but each of our our side plots.
Mm-hmm.
So we go from again radio base, and again we don't know that the Mad Hatter is doing it through radios yet, but we have it's a big visual clue to what we're going to learn about the Mad Hatter, how he's doing everything. So. We have a radio transition to Barbara and Tabitha, and basically Barbara's, she's seeing Ra's al Ghul, and she's seeing that her hand's glowing, and basically she's trying to figure out what the whole glowing hand gift that Ra's gave her is about. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean?
She's still got the migraine.
Yep, Tabitha thinks Ra's is full of it and just kind of doubts that it's really anything. Just like, yeah, he gave you like a weird glowing hand. I don't really know where to go with that.
I mean, we all saw how well that worked out for Danny Rand, right?
To be fair, it's not a fist, though.
Yeah, true, but it's still a glowing hand.
All right. So, and here's a weird thing. There's like one really weird thing in the writing, though. I don't understand why Tabitha is doubting that Barbara came back to life, because obviously she came back. You killed her yourself. She came back to life. Why are you doubting this?
Honestly, Dragon, I can't even keep track of like who's died and come back on the show at this point.
Okay. Let's see. So, and basically, Barbara's saying, it hurts to extract the memories and the answers that she has, like locked in her mind about this sort of thing, because basically she focuses on essentially she has to give in to the migraines that she's having. She gives into the migraines to be extremely painful. She'll be able to have all her answers at her fingertips, and Tabitha says, "Well, look, you're kind of weak if you don't kind of use that, man. Why don't you tap in those memories, get some answers?"
Mm-hmm.
So after that pointed pep talk from Tabitha, we have Barbara kind of doing as she suggested, and we get a big old grandiose flashback to the Barbara aftermath, basically Barbara's rebirth that we didn't see. Like, we never saw how she came back, so now we're seeing the events that took place.
Oh, hey, Barbara. Welcome to the Coming Back to Life Club. You can join me, and then we can go pick on Jessica, because Jessica didn't die yet.
Oh, you have the green drink too? Let's go out for green. Mine, I didn't get the green drink, but I have the... Sorry, it's ridiculous.
Splash, the blood spa. It'll be nice and relaxing. We can put cucumbers on our eyes.
I had this splishy splashy blood bath, and then I had like some weird marrow in there too. It was all weird and black and goopy, but it felt all tingly.
All right, I think we're
anyway.
Viewers, try again.
Okay, anyway, Electra and jokes aside. So the point is, we do see again. I think this is also well directed too, because I love how surrounded by darkness and like this one beam of light for like basically the platform that she's put on.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So we show the rebirth. Essentially, Ra's al Ghul, he collected her body, put her down, and I don't know why we're not submerging people in the pit. I don't know. Maybe it's like severity of the wounds, because it's just like our heart stopped. Essentially, our heart stopped. That's really what kind of killed her. So I guess there's like something, if she ingested, maybe it would just kind of Lazarus enough of her to bring her back. I don't know. Point is,
I mean, the show has kind of like boiled down the Lazarus Pit to water, right? I mean, that's kind of what we're doing with it at this point.
that's true. Yeah, we're going more Lazarus water than anything else. I'm saying we showed him in the Lazarus pit, like he emerged himself fully. But I mean, at least we got it.
Well,
So
like I said, at least we established that you can like bottle water from the Lazarus Pit and it'll be effective. At least that's an already established thing in the show.
and the big takeaway, Tegan, the very big takeaway: green Lazarus water in live action. Finally, green Lazarus water.
Right, great.
It's all I've wanted in this life, Tegan. Green Lazarus water. Anyway. So, so let's see. So Raish brings her back. She's reborn, and now I'll say this: I have a reservation about this episode. I'm going to give it time. I'm going to see where they're going with it. But my biggest reservation is I'm still not buying into the reason for which Raish has brought her back. I have a theory that might fix that, but what we get so far is that Raish, he says they boiling it down, he sees something in her, and that basically his gift to her is making her the demon's head. So now she's learned what that symbol means. Basically, why the glowing hand of it all. Like, okay, it means I'm the demon's head now. Basically, it means I'm the leader of the League of Shadows.
No, I mean I completely agree. And honestly, out of anything this episode, this is the stuff that I don't want to say it's bad. It's just it's not really that compelling compared to all the other stuff going on.
Yeah, because I mean, the line that he has is, "The world is weak, you're strong, and I want you to make the world more like yourself." So again, I still don't buy it unless, and I'll elaborate more when we get to the spec. Let's just say, unless Raish wants to make Gotham worse to create a Batman, I don't. That's the only That's the only reason I can think that he would go to Barbara for this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, more on that later. So the point is, the big thing that Barbara takes away from this little flashback is the demon's head thing, and that the League of Shadows is coming. That's pretty big. So, elsewhere, Jim and Bullock discover the Mad Hatter's plan to make Gotham die like Alice. Basically, kind of fling themselves off of something to fall, if not impale themselves, at 12 midnight. Then they go up to the rooftop of the nearest building. And they find Gothamites on rooftops.
I gotta say the production of these shots too, and all the scale of just how many people are on the rooftops is very impressive. Dragon, we really get a good sense of the scope of the threat in this episode.
That's a little later on, but yes.
Oh, sorry.
But you're right, though. I mean, it's I do.
I'm saying, like, even this one shot, we get more than a dozen people on the rooftop, even beyond just the all the different rooftops. Kind of jumping ahead a little bit, it's just the shot composition in general. Sorry, I'm really slurring my words tonight.
I mean, yeah, it is cool. I love that we're getting more rooftops again as we're kind of preparing for Batman. We're going to show a lot more rooftops this season because last season we had like the Barnes thing, which is a rooftop, and now we're getting more.
All right, so Dragon, the real Montoya comes to play with Bruce and Lena. Now Harper, I got to give her credit. I think out of all the real Montoya contenders, she's the one who, in the least amount of time, has made the strongest impression.
Yeah, I just wish like they'd have like a. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the name here. I'm just trying to think of. Oh yeah, right. Sorry, I don't know. I was blanking on it there. Basically, I wish we had like a John Blake reveal of like her actual name's Renee, or it's like. Well, my mother's. Well, my nick.
From season 1? No? Good. I don't either.
We'll call you Montoya. Just, I don't know, like someone wasted. We hated the other Montoya, but we like you, though. We're going to give you the name. So, anyway, so Harper finds Bruce, and Bruce stalls, and we're doing a clip. This feels very Telltale Batman, but it's classically Bruce Wayne having to put on a front, but I think the Telltale games recently have been doing like a lot of fun stuff with Bruce Wayne.
Oh, this is great. He just totally puts on like a pathetic scared act. It's like, Jerome's out there, the madman. I need protection from that monster Zaz.
I knew you were... Anyway.
You felt it in your bones, right?
It's just backtrack just a smidge here. So Brucey's stalling for Selena. Selena's in the office, and he's playing up... Initially, he's playing up scared and self-interested, like he's a rich, important person. Detective Harper, I'm a friend of Captain Gordon's. Jerome's going to be coming after me. I should be here. I crossed him last time. He's broken out just for me. I think it's a little more complicated than that. But, he tries to bribe her, and what do you want to add? Like a bribery charge? He acts very cowardly, and then basically when that doesn't work, he's basically, I love Sonia's expression here, is like taking notice of how ridiculous this is. Where Bruce, then he goes into the pathetic cry, the pathetic, like, little Weasley cry of just like, again, David Mazouz, he's really getting to expand the Bruce Wayne role, because he's done Playboy Bruce Wayne. Now we're doing kind of silly Bruce Wayne, like the himbo Bruce Wayne, where he's just doing this pathetic cries. Oh, please, Detective Harper, I'm so scared.
I love why he transitions between the two acts too. Like, he's just really good at improvisation in this moment.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, he buys Selena time to escape. Harper says, okay, well, you're safe here. You're welcome to stay, and I'll get you into the office. And basically, when she turns around, bad exit.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Bullock and Jim, they hit a snag as they go to the rooftops, and they try. Okay, Bullock tries to rescue one of the guys, and they realizes there's a preset measure into the hypnotized hostages, where if you get close to him, you take a step or so close to him, they will take a step off the ledge, which is not ideal.
I'm curious what you think. Is this hypnotizing plan a little too elaborate for you?
Well, no, it's pretty. Look, it's pretty simple. It's just,
I mean, I understand the over the radio thing. I get that. I'm not quite, like, I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but I'm not questioning the logistics of that. I'm questioning the logistics of, like, how many contingency plans are put in place within this one.
To be fair, there is only one contingency. To be fair, the only contingency is stand on the ledges, jump at midnight, and if anyone tries to stop you, you basically jump early. It's only one contingency. Basically, if anyone tries to stop you, do it.
All right.
I don't know. I'm saying if there's more, then I agree with you. I just think it's just it's like the one preventative measure.
Fair enough.
Okay, let's see. So then we reveal. So again, they realize, okay, that's a problem. And then, sorry, just let me make sure we get maybe jumping ahead. Oh yeah. So again, the closer they get the hostages, they'd be stepping off. And then Bullock suggests, so we need a net. And then, and I think Jim or Bullock, one of them realizes, a net won't work. And then we reveal all the other Gotham lights on rooftops all across Gotham, and that show. Like, oh boy, we can't just use a net to fix this. We're in trouble. Everyone's going to jump at midnight, and we can't save them.
All right.
So, Bruce, meanwhile, and here's some classic detective work here. Yes. Batman studying files. Yes. I love it's not the digital files, not on the computer. I love it's actual files, Tiki. Files.
I hear you.
Bruce is studying Jerome's file, and he finds Zach's diner. Basically, that Jerome has an uncle, the sister of the mother that he murdered. The brother of the, the brother of the mother that he had.
And,
so this might be
that Jerome's family is going to become very important in the coming weeks, Dragon. So this is some interesting build up to that.
Yeah, maybe. Considering Jerome's killed, he's killed both of his parents. Mm-hmm. Which again, kind of the opposite of Bruce Wayne. There, he's killed both of his. And now he's going after his uncle, presumably. So again, Bruce is figuring, okay, he's going to go after the uncle, and that'll provide, there's a lead right there. So Selina's asking, why is it Selina's asking very logical questions, and I love that. I love that Selina's asking, why is it your problem? Why are you taking this on? And Tiki, I love this so much. It's one of my favorite bits of writing in the episode. I love the ending of this episode, but I really love this. I love this idea. I love that Bruce feels compelled to, stop Jerome because he chose not to kill Jerome. That was a huge moment for him. That was the big, I vow not to kill people moment, which has definitely been thrown in his face with the whole Ra's al Ghul affair. So, this big moment, this big reminder in Jerome of I chose not to kill Jerome, so anything he does is on me, and his actions are my responsibility. And what I love about this is that it's a cool idea that, one, it bonds, it's classic Batman Joker dynamic, kind of bonds them, and it's a good logic for what leads to that dynamic years later. That's cool. But what I really love about it is how this bonds Jim and Bruce, because as we've said many times, we praise it. I love that we get it directly in this episode that Jim and the Penguin, Jim spared Penguin in the pilot, so therefore anything the Penguin does is on Jim again for not killing his arch enemy. And now we have that with Bruce Wayne. I think that's great.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And something that kind of makes them very very alike, and also again kind of bonds our arch nemesis here. So that's cool. So
But I
Selena,
love that Selena's just completely calling out his ego, and not in a bad way either. Just sort of like, "Oh, Bruce, you need to kind of get over yourself." But I love how we get the two sides of the conversation here.
yeah. Again, it's so smart that we kind of set up that intrinsic link thing with Bruce and Jerome, but at the same time, we do smartly call ourselves on how it's a bit of an ego move. And smartly we called him on that with Selena. And then we had kind of a Spider-Man Homecoming gag. Got a lot of Marvel references in this episode.
Okay, you know what? It's funny that you mentioned Spider-Man because honestly, like, yeah, I get the homecoming of it all, sure, with the door.
Yeah.
But this whole exchange reminds me a little bit of Raimi Spider-Man.
Yeah, it is a little bit like the great power, great responsibility. Well,
I'm not
you
talking
know,
about great. I'm just talking about
not
the chemistry that they have between each other. Like it's a little bit like a Bonnie and Clyde version of the Peter Parker Mary Jane dynamic.
well, I
Like
was thinking. Go on.
no, like we definitely get a little bit of a girl next door vibe. Like a girl next door who can rob a bank with Selena. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
Well, I was thinking the whole like Peter, you're going to become the man you're going to be for the rest of your life. The whole car scene, that's what I was thinking.
No, sure, that makes sense as well. Yeah.
But anyways, regardless of all these various Spider-Man comparisons, we do have like a Homecoming reference with the whole we're playing with the whole Batman Catwoman attraction here. I love that. I love that we're earning that finally. I love how we're able to get away with it without it feeling forced, because you sense the connection between these two. You sense there's definitely kind of a flirtation. There's a slight seductive quality here where Bruce reaches and they almost kiss, but basically he opened the door and thanked her. She's asking, "Are we even?" And of course, we got a reference. It's a vague reference to The Dark Knight Rises. The whole you don't owe this city anything. You've given him everything. So I was remembering a really impassioned bit from Dark Knight Rises that I really love this. I'm getting a little sidetracked with that. Anyway, so basically says, hey, we're even. You don't know me. You never did, Selena. You never owed me anything. It's really sweet, and again, it's classy Batman Catwoman. Just I'm loving every minute. It's great.
All right. So meanwhile, we're back at Zack Steiner, and Uncle Zack himself is saying, like, no, if I would have seen Jerome, I would have killed him myself.
And so he tells the uniforms, basically tells the uniforms to beat it. Basically saying, well, if I see anything, I'll let you know. They leave, and then there's a great reveal, by the way. So Jerome comes up from under the table.
Under the table, he's like, complaining about all the gum under the table. Gee, you're lucky they didn't inspect under the table. They would have given you a health inspection violation. And then he plops the gum right in his mouth in pure Jerome fashion.
It's that's befitting humor there. Not the gum thing. I just love that line. They really should have checked under the. You're lucky they didn't check under the tables. Not the whole like have a gun trained on you, but no, you got to see all this disgusting gum thing. It's a health code violation. It's he's focused on the minor of the two things. It's hilarious.
And we're gonna do some really good Joker Batman stuff this episode that I can't wait to get to.
Oh yeah, believe me. Oh yeah. Meanwhile, Jim and Bullock, they discover. So they discover the drivers. Basically, the random Gothamites are all people who are on the road listening to the radio, and basically they discover, okay, they're controlled by a radio station. So they check the cars. All the radio stations are different. So again, that's Mad Hatter covering his tracks. Bullock goes for the sacrificial move, basically shouting out,
I'm sorry,
whichever.
That's another contingency that I was talking about. The whole thing where he makes everyone change the channel as they get out of the car.
Well, I don't. No, Tiki, I don't think.
How does he make them all change to a different channel?
That's the thing, Tiki. I don't think that's. Well, look, I didn't read it as that's them changing the channel. I was told it was like that was him on the radio side of things, just like like somehow he's. It's like pinging. Sorry, I'm trying to get out of phrases. It's like when you can't track someone through like a cell tower. you know, when you ping it to a different location. I assumed, yeah, I could be wrong here. I assumed that he just was doing it on the other end. That's why like they couldn't find whichever radio station it was. But I mean, you could be right there. It could have just been. It's convoluted if they do that. Yes, it's like it's too many. It's you know it's too many contingencies if that's the case. But I don't know. I always thought it was like on his end he was doing that.
Uh,
Like he has like through a few different radio stations possibly. I don't know, but I mean obviously he's broadcasting it from one by means of like pinging it to different stations possibly. Anyway, so let's see. So it's basically so Bullock's going for the sacrificial move. He's going to shout out which radio station is controlling him as he's being controlled. You know, to kind of tip Jim off. And again, as we're kind of going to that, you know, basically him flipping through radio stations. We have a great cut to Jerome playing with like little diner radio, like the little like jukebox they built into the. You know, at those old school diners, they have those little jukebox things. So you put a coin in. You can, as long as I love that transition. It's great. And again, I love how we're tying in all the radio stuff. It's wonderful. So then we get the name of the episode.
I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Well, you know what's funny? I'm trying to see if this makes more sense here. So let's see. We do have three storylines. Therefore, the three soups is kind of a double thing. We have three soups in the literal sense, and we have three soups in the sense of we have three plots going on here. You know, we have the Mad Hatter plot, we have the Jerome Bruce plot, and we have the Barbara plot. So it's three soups, three storylines, kind of like three plates were spinning there. I guess maybe that's it.
Hey, I mean anything's better than fish in a jailhouse, right?
Yes. Okay, let's see. So we have the three soup.
He's doing the Joker thing. He's like, this one's too hot. This one's too cold. Ah, just right.
So, speaking of Joker-esque things, Jerome is kind of reminiscing about the past, and of course, like the whole multiple choice thing. I'm not saying we're doing that here necessarily. I'm just saying it's kind of similar to the whole like he's reminiscing about past stories.
I mean,
Where
we definitely allude to the whole multiple choice, like abusive childhood thing in the episode, though.
oh yeah, definitely. He's reminiscing about the soup-related traumas, and again, the soup things. It's an odd pull. I love how just kind of odd and bizarre it is. Because I was wondering where they were going with three soups. Because again, if there's like either the three storylines or like, well, I now think it's the three storylines, but it could be. I think like it was going to be Jerome, Mad Hatter, and Scarecrow. I thought those were going to be the three soups in question, but
you know that again, Dragon. That's the one thing that kind of disappoints me is that Scarecrow kind of drops off the episode until the end.
I still think Scarecrow is going to be responsible for the Bat Omen. I'm still betting on that.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Anyway,
Also, it's
so
like an obscure Alice in Wonderland pool, and I might be reaching with this, but in the Walrus and the Carpenter poem in Alice in Wonderland, it ends with all the oysters being turned into oyster soup.
I could buy that. Can you? Mad Hatter's our main villain this episode. You know, we could have.
Honestly, that's one of the first things I thought of when I saw the title of the episode.
Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, let's see. So basically, Jerome's reminiscing about his soup-related trauma from the circus days, where essentially his uncle, you know, cooked for the circus, and you know, he and other circus performers. Apparently, his uncle made really good cookies, so he tried to get a snickerdoodle. And when he tried to do that, his sadistic Uncle Zach, what he did is he put Jerome's hand into a burning pot of soup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, very, very traumatic. And by the way, I know there's a Netflix show that does something like that. I haven't watched it yet. It's about, it sounds a little interesting. It's like End of the Effing World. I think that's what it's called. You know what I was thinking of.
That there's a lot of Netflix stuff I need to catch myself up on, Dragon.
I was watching a good mini series today. But anyways, so okay, so Zach. Zach has the big reveal that he basically reveals why are there three soups? Why are there three soups of varying degrees of quality? For all of our basically for the other company I'm expecting. And of course, Jerome, I love he takes a moment here, just kind of puts it together after he learns, okay, it's not poison. It's okay, three soups, 1, 2, and again he realizes as he puts together the third guy is going to be like muscle like backup for Zach. He grabs the gun. It's too late as we reveal again. Tiki, another deep cut bat, and this is like a deep cut Batman. He's like the three guys I mentioned earlier. Those are like deep cut. Like if you read the comics, you'll know these guys. And here's another one, Lunkhead, very directly, the big muscle head guy. This is a Lunkhead who has a really great scene in one of the animated Batman shows. He's He's in Beware the Batman. He's a really great scene with Jim Gordon. So anyway, we have Lunkhead. In this case, he's re-envisioned as a circus strongman, which makes sense. Like I buy it. To reveal that the just right soup is for Lunkhead. The cold soup is for Zach because I love gazpacho. And the hot soup, as per old memories, is for Jerome.
Oh god, I love how we're playing into the Velasca family and they're all a little bit fucked up and sadistic. And again, Dragon, we'll get to that with speculation.
Well, remember, we knew that Jerome's mother, she wasn't a nice lady at all. I'm not saying she deserved to die, but she was, she slept around. She was, a bitter drunk. I'm saying that the Velasca family is filled with crazies.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So, and it is smart for Zach to expect Jerome to kill more family members, like last time. So he knows Jerome's going to be coming for him. So it's smart for him to have muscle at the race. Want to give kind of kudos there. It makes sense. Meanwhile, Tabitha doubts the League of Shadows because we need a skeptic in the episode. And it looks like Tabitha just has to kind of play the skeptic in the episode. And it kind of looks like what we do with her.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara, and this is a really cool bit. I love the direction on this. Barbara calls them out, knowing that they're there. Says, you can show yourselves now, and it's a great reveal of literally the League of Shadows appearing from the shadows as they turn around. We reveal
Begins-esque.
Yes, it's great. And then, of course, she shows them the mark of the demon, and basically shows the big old glowing hand. I like that. If you're gonna look, I'm not super crazy about the glowing hand, but here's what I like about it, though, on a rewatch. I like that, as we just saw with the lighting trick, and the whole lighting revealed the League of Shadows. And if we're going with League of Shadows instead of League of Assassins, if we're doing that, I like that, it's like, to rule over the League of Shadows, you would be like the one pillar of light. So I like that she has like a symbol of light to control the shadows. So that's neat. You want to take us through some of this?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dragon. Much like Barbara, I'm actually suffering through a migraine I've had all day, so I'm kind of powering through this thing.
Anyway, so let's see. We go to the radio station. We go to sorry, not yet. But we learn that the radio station is WZPZ, and it's Bullock's big moment here where he shouts it out. So okay, now get out of there. Turn the station off. And Jim pleads. Jim pleads with Bullock before it's too late. Now it's up to Jim to save Bullock. And really, really nice bit. And again, we do have some more nursery rhyme type stuff as Bullock, he's getting out of the car and says, "Hickory dickory dock, the cop went up the clock."
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyway, so basically the whole, the little nursery rhyme about, jumping off the thing at midnight. Anyway. So, Jim warns Harper. Jim warns Harper about, he's plugging his ears, he's entering the radio station, warns her, okay, get all these speakers up there so I can, whatever we break the control, everyone's going to be able to hear it. So then, we have a very noir, very old-school film noir / very, a little reminiscent of the Clayface episode from the animated series, in which we see Jerome tortured with the soup. It's like an old-school, like a brutal noir thing you see gangsters do to guys in back alleys, or you pour something hot down a guy's throat and you hold him steady for it. It's really dark stuff. And I love that. Again, we got away with an animated series. Love we do it in a much darker capacity here.
Dragon, the funny thing is with with pouring it down the throat.
Yeah,
it is very painful. You're right, but think of how much pain and suffering Jerome's face has suffered.
I know.
I just wanted to see more of I just wanted to see all the whole pan of soup being thrown into his face instead of down his throat. I think that would have been a little more visceral.
Well, at the same time, like the bottom half of his face is coated in the stuff, and you do see the burn marks afterwards.
Kind of added ingredient to how messed up can we get the face?
Oh yeah. So let's see. So basically, as this old school torture is being executed. And again, you understand why Zach's doing this. Zach is doing this to avenge his sister because he said, "Oh man, she should have dumped you in a river." Again, I think there's a vague Batman Returns reference. Should have sunk through you into a river when you were a kid.
This show does love its Batman Returns.
Speaking of Batman, Bruce interrupts.
Oh god, this is great.
So Bruce interrupts, and he asks them to turn Jerome in. He says, "Hey, you don't know who this is? He's Jerome Velasquez. Well, he doesn't deserve this. He deserves justice. Turn him in." And it was okay. Get the kid. And again, it seems kind of odd, like to drop the guy we're the dangerous guy we're torturing, and send the big muscly guy who's holding that guy at bay to the kid. But at the same time, he just had really molten support on him, so you would imagine he would be out of it for a couple seconds.
Mhm.
So anyway, so Lunkhead's fighting Bruce, and really, again, we see how much Bruce has come along because Bruce is holding his own against this guy, and this guy's huge. And Tiki, I love this so much, and Tiki's got me so excited, such a Batman moment. As Lunkhead is charging towards Bruce, Bruce's first instinctual action, he tosses a plate at the guy's face like a batarang. Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So great. So again, Bruce is holding his own.
Much, but it's the start of something bigger.
Yeah. So Bruce is holding his own, and Jerome takes Zach at gunpoint. And we learn that the reason Jerome's seeking out Zach is not just to kill him, but he needs to interrogate him for a location. He needs a very specific location for reasons we're going to speculate on at the end of the episode.
Hmm.
So let's see. While that's going on, the League of Shadows, to boil it down here with the League stuff, the League of Shadows is very skeptical of Barbara because in the League's history, because Ra's al Ghul's, yeah, remember, he's been the leader of the League for at least, again, in this version. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they made it 2,000 years, so Ra's has been around for 2,000 years, and based on that, it's never, sorry, I'm just trying to,
He's never had a woman in this position until now.
yeah, I was just trying to do my year math just to make sure that was right. I'm pretty sure, because we talked about that before, they changed it from 600 years to, like, really wider amount, like 2,000. I think that's what they...
Which, when you think 2,000 years, it's pretty extreme, right?
Yeah. So let's see. It was like an Egyptian thing, I think, when we flash back to it. Anyway, because it was like an Egyptian knife, and that's right. So I'm getting. Anyway, the point is, so yes, this is the first. Like women serve the League; they never lead the League. And of course, Tabitha. I feel we do force a bit of like an agenda with the.
Oh, you think? You think?
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, we.
Point I have about this episode is that I feel again like the Barbara stuff. Don't get me wrong, Dragon. It's far from season 1 Barbara levels of bad. I want to make that clear. I'm not like this isn't the all right, and now we have to talk about Barbara.
Yeah.
It's not the everyone knows it's Wendy. We're not at that level, but I wasn't thrilled with the Force message.
Yeah. Yeah, because here's the thing. So so Barbara essentially, they're skeptical of Barbara because of, here's the thing though, because traditionally the thing that bugged me about it is that traditionally the League, because Talia al Ghul is a very, I love the character of Talia al Ghul, Tiki, I really do. And I've always said, as much as doing her, I love what we're doing with Selena here, and I do enjoy, Catwoman and Batman's relationship. For me, always in my heart of hearts, I've always felt if there's any woman I could buy Batman with, it would be Talia al Ghul. I think that's the one that he actually, could end up with. And or at least should, like on some level. I think that's always been my favorite pairing of like Talia and Bruce, because they always seem like they could they'd really be a good match for each other. Anyway, so the point has always been like she's always been treated with great respect, and Talia has always been really she's been a very capable leader. So there's never been like from what I remember, the League of Assassins and the League of Shadows, there's never really been like a whole there's never been like a disregard of women. Like women have served, yes, but I mean. It's never been like anything against the women of the League like this, and it's kind of just feels like an agenda piece.
Okay, you know what the problem is that it's superficial twofold. It's superficial in being like, oh, they don't respect women and they're sexist, ooh. And then it's also superficial in that like all the men die and it's only the kick-ass strong female characters who are around to form this League of Shadows. It's too forced of a positive message and too forced of a negative message.
I got an issue with that later thing when we get there. So we're getting there soon. Let's see. So Barbara kills the we have a bit. So the leader, basically the leader of the team of assassins. He challenges Barbara, saying basically he challenges her, and Barbara on instinct kills him very impressively. I will say, Barbara again. That must be like that mark of the demon kind of made her a better fighter, I guess. So basically, just stabs the guy and kills him instantly. Mm-hmm. And she says, anyone else? And then, of course, I love this. Everyone else, like instantly, they're all ready to go at her. And that's Tiki. That's the League of Assassins. That's the League of Shadows. I know. Yeah, that's those guys. They're not gonna give up.
Right.
So let's see. So meanwhile, oh yeah. So Jerome's threatening Zach with bleach, and again, I think the bleach is a foreshadow for stuff we're gonna do with Jerome.
Ooh, possibly, possibly.
So he's threatening Zach with bleach because now there's no more soup. And so basically he gives him the address, and this is a really funny bit. And Cameron Monaghan, he loves playing. He plays a. I love how he plays this proto Joker. He just plays him very well. Where he says he gets the address. It's Saint Ignatius, and he says, "All right, got it. Okay, don't got it. Write it down." Just has him write it down on a napkin.
And he doesn't spare Uncle Zach.
Nope, because we have this great bit. Oh, it's been nice reminiscing about all the horrible childhood traumas, but we got to get going. And also, while this is going on, this is a classic Joker bit. Though I love how he's watching on the side Bruce fight Lunkhead, and all of these kind of distracted, kind of fascinated by that on the side, just kind of doing like little mimicking to himself, like you punch like left hook, right hook.
But the
So
best part is how amused he is that Bruce Wayne is his savior.
I know we're gonna get there in one millisecond here. She says, "Well, see you around." Oh, except the opposite. Bang! Just shoots, just shoots Zach right there. And then like a moment of silence sweeps the diner, and they both stop fighting. And it's just claps with the gun. It's hilarious. And then here's the genius of it all. Here's the bit that we both really like here. So Jerome appreciates the hilarity in all this. The hilarity in Bruce, of all people, Bruce helping him, and I love how this scene plays here, where he says, "And standing up to his abuser, because no one's ever done that for him before. And he was abused and beaten by this man. No one's ever stood up for him in his life, and Bruce did. And of course, it's a really heartfelt moment. And then, like the second after that, makes me really got to ask, what's wrong with you?" And for a moment, he almost shoots Lunkhead for Bruce. And again, classically, Bruce like, "No, don't do that." And again, Jerome in the moment says, "It'd be funnier, basically funnier than me saving your life. Me not doing it the other way. Me
Dying
not
for you saving my life."
yeah, let's go with that. Do the thing." I love this. He just tells Lunkhead to do things. It's either that Lunkhead's too stupid to realize
It's like
I should just.
corporate higher up or something.
I love that. It's one of two things, both of which make sense. Either Lunkhead is just he's living up to his namesake, because Lunkhead was not the brightest bulb in the box. He's just going into his hierarchy, or it's logical reason Jerome has a gun. He'll shoot him if he doesn't try to kill Bruce. So either way.
Mhm.
So let's see. Okay, yes. So meanwhile, so we cut to Mad Hatter's on the radio having a good time. And then there was a great commercial moment where Jim comes up from behind him and like covers his mouth and says, "Shut up, Tetch." It's great. The Jim and the Mad Hatter have a great history together in this show, so it's just great. I love the tension and the hatred between these two guys.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So let's see. Okay, so Jim patches the Mad Hatter through and basically gives him the command. Basically, he tells him, "Undo the command, or I'm going to shoot pieces off of you. I'm going to shoot pieces of you off." So the Mad Hatter gleefully says that his hands are tied, and he used a really poor choice of words in saying hands, because
Yes,
Jim
he does. Yes, he does.
basically he kind of he kind of Christes him in this moment, where he basically puts his hand against the glass and he shoots a hole in it. One could say, Tiki, "Holy gunshot, Batman!"
Sure, Dragon.
Get it? Because there's a hole in the hand.
Yeah. Ha, ha, ha.
Anyway. Okay, so basically, so he's revealed that. Okay, now, yeah, I'm just looking at it right now, too. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, we have too many contingencies. Because I think I'm now realizing he says the failsafe is, well, again, mentioning that his hands are tied. Mentioning that his hands are tied is revealed to be that the failsafe has a failsafe in place to obey the next voice. Well, no, I'm crap. Sorry, just reading my notes. A little jumbled here, folks. Sorry about that. He goes over to the microphone. He says, "Obey the next voice you hear." And the thing that he said earlier, and this is what I was giving you credit for too. The thing he said earlier is, they will not respond to anyone saying "save themselves." They will not. They can't save themselves. You can't tell them that
That's
will
what
do
I'm
nothing.
saying, Dragon. There's, it's just like it's so elaborate.
What they should have.
It's a line of believability.
I'll tell you what they should have done to fix it, though. I'll give you this. You know what they should have done? They should have literally pulled a Purple Man here, where when we tried to remove Hope Schlottman from the bed, where she was in the very first episode of Jessica Jones, she was told to sit in the bed, and when Jessica removed her, she was she was clawing at the bed and everything. So what they should have done is Bullock takes that guy off the ledge, and then the guy just runs instantly back to the ledge. That's what they should have done.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
doing that, basically, if they did that, then you could just have this be the one fail safe. Where okay, so they won't they that which it's give them one, but not two.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess they figured that okay, well, the easy solution would be we take them off the ledge and we punch them in the face. So again, the Jim Gordon solution, we knock them out, so they won't get up again. That's probably the logic. But anyway, the point is, I don't know. I think they went with the least worst option on that. I don't know.
Fair enough.
So let's see. So the point is, Matt Harris kind of screwed over Jim here. So basically, the clock's ticking. It's almost midnight. And what can I say to save these guys? Meanwhile, Jerome is laughing his head off at the situation as Selena finally kind of arrives and whips the gun away from awesome Selena saving and classic kind of Catwoman, kind of basically rewarding Batman for his faith in people. That's kind of what we're doing in this moment. He had faith in Selena, he showed kindness to her, and she's coming back to save Bruce's bacon here. And of course, Bruce, he knocks out Lunkhead. Really cool little moment there. And Jerome's intrigued by this. I love how he's intrigued by Selena.
Hmm.
What's this going on here? And basically now she has the gun, and we know Selena. She's killed people before. She's not again now. Look, she's not a murderer per se, but she's killed people out of self-defense before, so she's more than willing to to save other people. She would kill someone. So and Jerome's saying, "Oh, you're not that." Like Bruce is saying, "Okay, Selena, don't do anything like this. Oh, don't worry about this. She's not that kind of girl." Then
Nope, very wrong. And Jerome he knows how wrong he is. He ducks under a table instantly. I like
and
how when Jerome knows he's wrong, he can call himself on it. It's like, nope, nope, sorry, my bad.
anyway, so as he's trying to get away, she's firing off a few shots, and then classic, Batman saves, Bruce saves Jerome, like kind of a Batman saving the Joker moment, where he jumps on Selena. We kind of do another Batman Returns reference. We reverse the shot from Batman Returns, where it's Catwoman on top of
Right,
Batman,
right.
and here we have Bruce on top of Selena. Again, it's a bit of a kind of a seductive relationship moment, but at the same time, it's speaking to the whole like, hey, you and I, there's a code. I don't want to cross anything here. You can't just shoot him and kill him.
Hmm.
And again, I love this. So as that moment happens, Jerome he makes his exit. And he has the great line: see you crazy kids later." Basically, I'm going to give you two. Essentially, saying I'm going to give you two crazy kids some privacy. You're kind of going through something right now. I'm out of here. It's great. So they're having a little bit of a kind of a follow up kind of debate here, where she's saying, "You should have let me shoot him." Yeah, of course, Bruce like, I don't want to go through this like that. I can't just have him shot. Again, all the responsibility he's taken for Jerome, and she's saying, "Just come with me."
Hmm.
He says, "Don't." He says, "It's not over yet. I still have things to do." And she says, "Okay, well, again, classic kind of Catwoman style here." He says, "Well, suit yourself. I'm not sticking my neck out any further here." But she has that great moment where she kind of hesitates before she leaves. She says, "Don't take too much responsibility that it gets you killed." I love that it's kind of without saying it. She's saying, "I care about you," and it's a really sweet little moment.
Yeah, it's nice.
So Bruce finds the address, which is going to be important. He finds the address as he's tying up the bad guys. As we're,
Oh yeah.
Okay, so big reveal: the League of Assassins. Basically, we cut back to the League of Assassins, saying, "Okay, we're like, oh boy, they're gonna kill Barbara and Tabitha. Oh boy, what's gonna happen?"
I
And
would
of
have
course,
been really excited about this if this were season one.
yeah. Anyway, so basically, the lights go out yet again. A lot of gunfire. Now here, okay, sorry, let me revise this here. Here's the weird thing. Here's the issue. Okay, with what we were saying earlier. So here's the thing. So Barbara basically she fires into like a whole speech about like, I'm here because there was weakness in the organization. She gives her big like there's weakness. Basically, she learns of the it feels very agenda driven. By the way, there's weakness here. You're gonna do what I say. And again, I'm still not buying that Barbara's really the end all be all here. But okay, good. I guess good for her. So she's giving a speech, and here's the weird thing, Tiki. They all bow to her. They all like, okay, yeah, we buy. Okay, you're the leader. You gave like an impassioned speech. We're sold. We're not going to challenge you anymore. And again, so all the men are on her side in that moment, right?
Hmm.
And then they cut the black, and then they're all shot. All the men are then shot to death because they showed
Yeah,
weakness. It's like
yeah.
what? Did we learn nothing?
There's literally no reason for it.
It's like we undercut the whole agenda thing.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's just it's really kind of weird. So now it's basically it's as the league is putting it, we're the point of the spear barber. Like we're the knife on the assassin's staff, if you will. So we're all strong here. You got the strongest members of the league here at your disposal. So whatever you say next, boss.
So, like I said, Dragon, it goes from just like totally demeaning to women to just like, all right, it's the classic badass, strong female group of heroes who's not going to take any shit from nobody.
Kind of an oxymoron of a plot line. I'll give you that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's see. So then we have a great clock tower climax. So again, like the clocks. Again, we're framing all this really well in the direction. Again, so I want to give that points
No,
where I
you're
can.
right. As you said earlier, with the radio transitions, especially, yeah.
So let's see. So then Jim, and again, I love where basically this. I think this scene onward, this scene to the end, I love what we're doing in the writing. I love what we're doing in the setup. So all of this stuff is, I think, is like icing on the cake. T. I really do. So really good moment for the Jim Gordon story here, where Jim, is like, what the heck is Jim Gordon going to say? And he says, "Save each other." So the solution to all this is great. Basically, it speaks to Jim's hope for Gotham that
Exactly.
he and Bruce are basically he's speaking to the Gotham that Jim and later on Batman are going to be fighting for. They're going to be striving for a Gotham where the people of Gotham can save each other. They can save themselves. People are going to look out for each other. And again, I like that that's kind of we're setting that up here, and I think what we're speaking to is that Jerome's plot is going to revolve around the opposite of that, where it's going to be, hey, I'm showing that the people of Gotham, they're going to go mad and try to kill each other.
Uh-huh.
And I love that it's speaking to what's great about the solution as well is that this is speaking to Jim. Jim in this moment, he can't save them, but they save each other because this is like Jim's guilt over everything of like one man can't do this. You can't invest the city in one man. You can't like put it all on one man's shoulders, which is speaking to why Jim and Batman working together and like all the people of Gotham, basically believing in the people of Gotham is better than just even putting in like one, like you can't put on Bruce Wayne, you have to put on an ideal like Batman, you have to put on like a number of people that like of the Bat family, if you will. And what I think it cements, and I think it's foreshadowing, is that this is the reason, because again, Jim couldn't do this. Jim couldn't save them. They all saved each other. I think Jim's going to look to Batman when we get him down the line. Jim's going to look to Batman as what he set out in season 1 to be. And I think that's where we're at with Jim Gordon right now, that he's considering himself a failure for, he kind of corrupted his own principles. He's living with it. He's learning to live with it in Bullock in the scene we're about to talk about shortly. But again, I think we're showing here is that, again, down the line, Batman is that season 1 ideal, like no corruption in Gotham. I can believe in this symbol, and that just now we have that symbol's gonna have bad ears.
Mm-hmm.
So again, love the save, and of course, people saving each other. It's all nice. Love Bullock, like saving. I just love seeing Bullock along with all those guys, like saving someone. I don't know. It's very simple. It's like like he saves the guy, and then like back at the radio station, Captain, we everyone's saved, yay! And then he gets the thumbs up from the radio DJ. That's nice.
Dragon, it's funny. I get the feeling the radio DJ is supposed to be a cameo that I don't recognize.
I didn't recognize him either, so.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. It just like it was a very pronounced extra. Who knows?
If anything, it should have been Kevin Smith, but
Oh, that would have been wonderful.
So let's see.
Ralph Garman.
Oh my God, yes, Ralph Garman, yes.
That would have been even more fitting. Anyway.
Yes. Okay, let's see. So we check in kind of the aftermath here. There's no information from they captured the Mad Hatter. They got nothing from him. They're not learning what the big Jerome plot is yet. Bullock. We learned that Bullock stores booze in the captain's office like a squirrel, so he just hides it everywhere. And then essentially we see what I think one of the prime functions of this episode is. This episode is it's kind of a prologue for the Bruce Jerome story, and it's an epilogue for the Jim Gordon Sophia story. Where Jim still feels terrible. Sorry. Again, Jim still feels terrible for for kind of corrupting his principles and such. And Bullock kind of highlights the good that he did, the good that he did, because he wants to come clean, and that'll. Jim wants to come clean, but he can't. And Bullock highlights, what you did. You'd be sitting in a prison cell right now, but look what you would have wouldn't have been able to prevent you. You saved a lot of people in Gotham. No, you did that. You did something truly heroic.
Hmm.
So honestly, what we do with this Tiki, and it's really clever on a rewatch. You kind of notice that. I love that we in this scene, what we do is we give Jim Gordon his own making am I making Gotham better or worse moment with that realization of like, well, yes, you did something bad, but at the same time you did something for the greater good of Gotham. You saved a lot of people because you still kept up this lie. And again, it's kind of like how Batman, like, does Batman create these crazies, or is he like the only weapon to fight these crazies with? So again, we kind of have that with Jim Gordon in itself there with that lie. So it's kind of a cool way of just again, we're making that we're kind of making that Rises plotline more and more relevant and kind of doing some better stuff with it. That's kind of what we're doing this season.
Hmm.
So yeah, let's see. And again, Bullock, he says Bullock was the real hero, but again, Bullock has a really sweet moment where he says, "I knew if anything went wrong, you would save me." It's really
We
sweet.
get a series of sweet moments. We get that one, which is adorable, but then my personal favorite moment, perhaps of the episode, Dragon, is what we were calling back to in with season one, where Gordon's like, when I first met you, Harvey, I judged you for a lot of things, and now I know, and it really does complete that transition of Gordon's on the other side of the page now. He's on the outside looking in, and Bullock assures him, that he only knows the tip of the iceberg. That is Bullock, but it's just really interesting to see the two of them kind of like come into this sort of crossroads with each other character wise.
Again, it's the big. Again, it really shows like a closing of the loop on Gotham. That we're getting close to an ending of some kind. That
Which again, I hate to keep pushing this, Dragon, but I really hope that season 5 is our final season. Not that I want to see the show end because I'm enjoying the show, just for the pure integrity of the narrative.
yeah. And again, I just love we're kind of closing the loop on that with the whole like again Bullock. He Jim is apologizing for judging Bullock at the very beginning, realizing that Bullock was absolutely right that Gotham. It's hard to stay a good man in Gotham.
Uh-huh.
And of course, he has Tiki has this great line that plays so well in the rewatch. Tiki is this beautiful line where Bullock says after that he toasts Jim in the office and he says, "There are no heroes here." And again, like, saying that is basically one. It's a great Batman. It's a great lead into Batman, and how well, I'm sorry. It's a great lead into what we're going to have in the future. Basically, these two guys realizing that again, like it's kind of a hopeless cause, but it's kind of we're the best solution for the time being. It's kind of getting to that place where okay, we're getting closer and closer to needing a Batman in this story. Where okay, our guys are kind of bankrupting themselves, not in a negative way. I just mean they're bankrupting themselves, and that yeah, we can't even call ourselves heroes at this point. We don't have like an incorruptible symbol, like a symbol that won't cross the line, like a Batman, quite yet. And the minute they say that, the second they say that, I love that destiny calls in a way where, as they say that, Bruce Wayne, their future Batman, calls on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So Bruce, again, kind of a classic Batman tipping off Gordon scene where Bruce gives Jim a heads up about Saint Ignatius, and Jim, Bruce is ignoring Jim's wishes, saying, "No, Bruce, don't go down there. That psychopath's there. Don't go there. You can yell at me when you get here, Jim." And Tiki, this is so beautiful. Again, kind of closing the loop type stuff here, where Bullock asks Jim, "Is the Wayne kid in trouble again?" And he's bitten off more than he can handle, and that circles back to the pilot because these two guys reunited over the Wayne case. These two guys met each other over Bruce Wayne. I love how poetic that is, man. Like these two guys are always going to be saving this kid. And years later, that kid's going to be saving them. How beautiful is that? So then we see the Mad Hatter. You want to take us to the Mad Hatter of it all here, the ending?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we see him in Crane, and well, I'm sorry, he's in the prisoner transport, and I like how I like how it's supposed to be soundproof and everything. No, he's wearing the mask that kind
Yeah,
of the Bane style mask,
yeah.
and but it gets stopped by the Scarecrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scarecrow gasses the guy, and he has a new costume. It looks pretty good, a little more form fitting. It's neat.
I like it, but I also like the more subtle hospital one. So,
Oh, sure.
But of
So,
course,
it's
Jerome's in his new digs.
new duds. Yeah. Yeah, again, so we learned it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the grand plan. So while the Mad Hatter distracted Jim Gordon, Jerome got his information without any interference, and Crane got his fear gas and all his stuff. And I get a sense that fear gas might play into some stuff. And again, just Jerome, he's just got a very, in a kind of a Heath Ledger-ish way. He just kind of walks up to the van and says, "All aboard!" He's getting ready to drive off and kind of enact his big plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the episode.
Okay. I'm sorry, Dragon. My head is just I'm really losing steam here, man. Can we just quickly go through spec?
All right. All right. So the promo is very simple. Three bullet points here. So Jerome is getting a long Halloween brunch meeting together. Very long Halloween. It's one of the big images from the long Halloween. All the Batman rogues at a table together. So we're doing that next episode. Most likely, he's getting these people together to talk about the big Arkham City plan. Basically, that's probably like he's going to getting all the rogues together to talk about how they're going to divvy up the city into a madhouse, essentially. If Gotham turns into a madhouse, who gets what territory? That's my guess as to what that scene's about. Let's see. Jerome is looking for someone. That's important. So Jerome is looking for some mystery person, which might tie into the big Joker of it all, because we don't know if we're going to do another proto. Basically, if we're going to do like the point is we're building to the Joker stuff more than ever. Next episode is going to build up to it at the very last second, or do the big Joker answer. We're finally going to get the big, like, is Jerome turning to the Joker or what? So we're going to do that.
Dragon, I know a leak.
Well, let's not discuss that leak.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So the point is they're teasing Joker very hard. And honestly, what we could do, let's see. So again, primarily the big theory is, again, we're divvying up territory for the rogues. Like, again, basically No Man's Land, but with, it's kind of Arkham City / No Man's Land. No Man's Land with villains. And the idea is by the end of the season, we're going to do No Man's Land that will basically, I think Bruce is going to get sprayed by the fear gas, and he's going to come up with a bad idea. The Batman emblem, essentially. The whole, he's going to see bats again. It's going to sink in. He's going to have his dramatic symbol, and that's where we're going to end it this season. We're going to come back with basically Batman having to restore law and order in Gotham at its worst period. Now, again, famously in the Batman comics, Gotham at its worst ever, where it was like, divvied up into like kind of like a war zone, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. That's my prevailing kind of theory of where we're going for this in the next season. Let's see. We see Joker with a shotgun trying to kind of find this mystery guy. So I'm thinking this mystery guy, he is either going to be, the Joker in question, or the basically the guy who's going to be like the real Joker all along, or most likely what I'm going to bet money on. I would bet money that in going after this guy for some reason, this guy has something or something. He's going to be the X factor to what makes him into the Joker. And what I would bet on, because we've done it a couple times now, I think they're going to do it again. They got to do it for this one time, where I think we might do the Red Hood thing, where Jerome's going to fall in the vat of acid and chemicals. He's going to, but I think that's going to erase his memory, so we get the multiple choice thing, where basically he's going to emerge as basically as the Joker. And he's going to, with the pale skin, the green hair, he's going to basically be as linked up as we're going to get him. But he won't remember at all who he is, and he won't care. He won't try like Butch. He's not going to try to figure out who he is. He's just going to be he's going to be what Bruce is going to need to become at the end of the season to defeat this guy. He's going to be just kind of the walking emblem, the walking symbol of chaos and death and destruction in Gotham that Bruce needs to kind of find his. And it's going to be a rush to, okay, Bruce, you got to get your head in the game. You got to have like another defining example to kind of go up against this guy. And the cool thing we could do with that, Tiki, is Jerome has history with Bruce Wayne. He's had his big Batman moments with Bruce Wayne. So if Jerome forgets all that when he sees Batman, he'll see, I like this guy. I don't know why I like this guy, but I feel there's a connection between me and this guy. So we could do it kind of based on that Bruce Wayne history if we erase his mind, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dragon. I just kind of have to plead the fifth on this one because I know too much.
All right, well...
It was a YouTube thumbnail I didn't want to see. Let's just boil it down to that.
Let's see, the last thing I got, though, with the League of Assassins of it all. Last thing I got is, I think what we're going with it just simply is, I think the League of Assassins is going to lead to a Ra's al Ghul at the end of the season. We're going to reveal, okay, so all this League of Assassins stuff is going to reveal, okay, Barbara's like a placeholder for Ra's al Ghul secretly. Like, Ra's al Ghul's alive, but he's using Barbara, and what I hope they're doing with this is that Ra's al Ghul's alive, and he's using Barbara to create No Man's Land. Basically, use the League to kind of help facilitate making No Man's Land happen so that it gets Bruce to fulfilling his full potential as the Dark Knight. And again, making the whole title of this season makes sense. Like, because Ra's al Ghul coined the phrase a Dark Knight, so it would make sense that by the end of this thing, calling him, you need to be the Dark Knight that's going to restore order in Gotham. I made Gotham, like, the whole time, Ra's al Ghul, along with, Jerome, thinking it was his idea.
Mm-hmm.
I made Gotham into a horrible place, so basically Gotham's hero could emerge and kind of save it. So I helped Bruce Wayne in the end. Through my death, I created Batman. So that's the only logic I can think of why he'd use Barbara, because Barbara would just tank Gotham. I think that's why he put her in charge.
Right.
So yeah, that's really all I got with specs. So I guess final thoughts, Steve. What do you got?
Man, I'm so sorry. I'm off my game tonight, man. I really am. I've had a headache all day, and I know that's a bad excuse, but I mean, final thoughts. I really do like this episode quite a bit. I think it's a pretty good self-contained one where it's like, we get a lot. We get three really good stories. Perhaps the League of Shadows being the weakest, but I don't know, man. I just want to get off here and go to bed. I'm not even going to bullshit around with you at this point. I've had a rough day. Go ahead.
One could say one bad day.
One could say that, yes.
All right, okay, put it simply, okay, final thoughts.
Trust me, I'm hopped up on painkillers right now. You don't want to know. Anyway.
All right. So I feel it's a slow but entertaining build to the Jerome plot. I feel it's kind of it's a great prologue for what we're going to do in our big Jerome story. So that's what I think on a rewatch. I think it works better on a rewatch. The first watch is fine. I'm just saying, a rewatch, things come alive, but you also learn again that
it's got really Gordon Bullock stuff. I'll say that about it.
It's got what?
A really good Gordon and Bullock stuff.
Yeah. It's well directed. I don't know if it measures up. I mean, it's good in the direction. I'm not sure it measures up to kind of the cool spectacle we got in the first time he directed, but it was another good episode for Ben McKenzie. Again, it has a really good Jim Gordon story with the Bullock stuff, and I love the parallel it has to Bruce's story. That Anyways, the point is, I love the parallel we had. We had more parallels I'm not going to get into, but we had other parallels between Jim and Bruce this episode that kind of show that they were both kind of going on, that radio connection earlier on, and also they were kind of dealing with their own madman. So we had some good parallels there, and I think good setup for the finale. It seems a lot of setup for kind of where we're going. You got a lot of Batman foreshadows this episode. I think it was in total, it was a really it was a fine episode. Really. It is an enjoyable episode and a good really feels like a really good prologue to the events that are going to unfold. I think part 1's really coming next week. All right. So remember, kids, no matter how dark and scary the world might seem right now, there will be light. There will be light.
Until next time when we go exploring Gotham yet again.
Unless that light comes from your hand.